what inspired you to choose engineering as your starting point?
That point of time for campus, when the company started coming in, my interest was more into areas of manufacturing and design primarily.
What would be your opinion about the engineering department when you entered the field, and how is it now?
In early old days, there were features where the car would have an AC as a special feature. We cannot think of those kind of things right now. Power windows came up, it was a special feature. So that's how things have changed in a real big way.
When you joined this industry, तब इंडस्ट्री कैसा था एंड अब भी इंडस्ट्री जैसे चेंज हो रहा है, तो उसके बारे में आप क्या बोलना चाहेंगे?
So if you are talking specifically about automotive industry is unique in some senses that it is not just one industry, it is an umbrella of industry, it is a complete ecosystem which it brings with.
नमस्कार श्रोता बंधु मु आरजे शुभश्री आपण सुनुछंती 90.4 सोआ रेडियो शुभेच्छा जणे स्वागत करूछि आपण समस्त को सोआ इंग्लिस्तान रो आ गोटे फ्रेश एपिसोड को सबुथर परि आम सहित मध्य जोड़ी हेछंती जणे खास अतिथि तांको जीवन संघर्षर कहानी सुनिले आपण मध्य आश्चर्य हेबे। श्रोता बंधु समस्ते जीवन रे आगो को बढ़िबा को हेले निश्चित भाबरे किछि ना किछि लक्ष्य रखि थांती। आज से निजर लक्ष्य स्थल रे पहुंची परछंती। सी होछंती सीनियर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेस मारुति सुजुकी इंडिया लिमिटेड मिस्टर सौरभ पाठक। तेबे चलंतु आउ डेरी नकरी आज कार्यक्रम को स्वागत करिबा एवं तांको सहित कथा हबा लागि आज आम सहित दुई जन स्टूडेंट आरजे जोड़ी हिचंती। से होछंती आरजे वर्षा एंड आरजे अरुबा।
In India, a car has never been just a vehicle. ये एक सपना होता है and for middle class family, it means comfort, pride and progress.
एक वक्त था जब इंडिया में कार्स सिर्फ इंपोर्ट की जाती थी, वो भी इलाइट क्लास के लोगों के लिए, which was unaffordable for the middle class. But Maruti Suzuki is a brand which has changed everything. The tagline of Maruti, the way of life, has really justified itself because now every middle class family could now actually afford to own a car. मुस्कान को बनाने जिंदगी की हसीन दिलरुबा, मैं हूँ आपकी फेवरेट स्टूडेंट आरजे अरूबा।
सबके दिलों में भरने आशा, मैं आपकी आरजे बर्षा। वेलकम टू सोआ रेडियो 90.4 वॉइस ऑफ द सोआ कम्युनिटी।
Since we mentioned the brand Maruti Suzuki, so every brand has some leaders who have shaped the culture of every brand. So we have one such visionary leader today with us, and we are truly honored to welcome you, sir. We have with us Mr. Soarabh Pathak, the Senior Vice President at Human Resources at Maruti Suzuki India Limited.
Thanks for the introduction. I think it gives me immense pleasure to be part of the young people. And what has been said about Maruti, yes, common man's car is what we started with, and this was a thought of our founders and starters at that point of time. And till date, we totally believe that we are common people's car, but it is aspirations are the ones which we always keep on matching and uplifting. Getting closer to customers is what we truly believe in and what drives us on a daily basis.
Sir, we have seen your journey from IIT Delhi to UC Berkeley, and now you are leading at Maruti Suzuki. It's truly remarkable. So what inspired you to choose engineering as your starting point?
Of course, as a student, little bit of more interest on subjects like physics, maths, generally tend to get yourself more attracted towards engineering. Although I applied or entered both for medical engineering, but God wish that I happened to got into engineering. What I started with was, of course, as an engineer, there are a lot of things which you start understanding and start kind of working on specifically with workshops, etc. But as you get towards the later half or later stages, you start getting a little bit more anxious that do I really know how to make it happen? And that is where engineers need to be very different, that whatever we learn has to be implemented, has to get activated, unlike some of the other areas which may not be at the very front. But that's where the engineering, the expectation from engineers is certainly that whatever you learn needs to get applied, and that's where the organization are very, very affirmative on these aspects. In my journey, while I started on a campus at Maruti Suzuki, prior to that, some of the electives or some of the options which I always thought of was in areas of manufacturing per se. I was not too much interested on areas of IT at that point of time. Maybe okay, maybe not okay. But at that point of time, for campus, when the company started coming in, my interest was more into areas of manufacturing and design primarily.
So, sir, we have been hearing about you that you have more than 2 decades of experience in this automobile industry. So, what was your opinion? What would be your opinion about the engineering department when you entered the field, and how is it now?
I strongly believe engineers are the ones who bring ideas to action. And that's very important, and that strongly differentiates them at various point of time. Maruti, when I joined Maruti almost 26 years back, the way automobile industry was there was very different, and Maruti, of course, was one of the path breakers, or the one which revolutionized the automotive industry. So it was a very aspirational company for us, even at campus. While we joined the company, we were given an option to pick up which area we want to work on. And what we saw was a very different way the industry works, and the kind of discipline, the kind of cleanliness, the areas where it was so much structured and so much processes which evolved at any and every stage, that we could hardly see that there is any variation in the things from person to person at a shop floor or at an assembly line. And this created a lot of new thinking in terms of this is how we can make it possible. This is how a vehicle is made. And while it started with a mix of some automation and a lot of people in manufacturing, it evolved over the next 20 years into increasing level of automations, maybe in electronics, through technology, aggregation of certain systems which would drive, plan. So it is more like usage of technology, information technology. So this is how we could see specifically, I could see specifically both in terms of product as well as processes. What we saw or what used to be there in a product as a special feature was now a hygiene after a span of 10 years. So in early old days, there were features where the car would have an AC as a special feature. We cannot think of those kind of things right now. Power windows came up, it was a special feature. So that's how things have changed in a real big way.
Sir, we are talking about your journey, and you have begun your career in production operation, and later you have transitioned into human resources. So what motivated you to make that transition?
Knowing and certain things and aspiring to get know-how across other business functions, verticals, everyone, at least me, was very much looking for. And I am very happy and elated to see the organization where I am working on gave me ample opportunities at various intervals. So while I started with production, it was at one point of time that our director production and production business vertical picked me up at his office, where I worked for various projects across the production vertical. And that's where I started getting exposed to another areas beyond production, to other verticals. And we have a very good policy of getting a rotation at a particular point of time. So it happened so that again I got an opportunity to work in areas of logistics, which is to do with rail logistics, port logistics, as a project phase only, not on an operational level. Then I happened to get a chance in learning and development. Thereafter, I moved into HR at areas of people operation, shared services,
yes.
outsource, resource management. Then I also happened to get a chance for a year at corporate strategy and planning team. And again, I was picked up in area of corporate central HR. So I all thanks to my organization for giving so much of opportunities to their people. Yes, it is not that easy. While you get an opportunity, you have to be prepared for a lot many things. So yes, there are certain challenges. You get an opportunity, but you have to keep on proving your worth, which the organization had trusted you on while making that decision.
Yes, so we can see that there are a lot of challenges in every and any field we move on into. And we can see that the Gen Z is coming into the workforce now. So what would you like to highlight in this statement? Like, what are the strengths that we Gen Z bear, and what would be the areas which we can improve upon, according to you?
See, some time back, I read one very interesting thing about Gen Z, that they don't want to be directed, however they want guidance. This is a very important point. It is not that they don't want anything from a senior or from elder. Guidance is one very important. I think direction, even as a youngster, I was also not too much happy about if someone is giving me too much of instructions. I was not happy about it. But guidance, yes, I always seek guidance or mentoring from someone whom I trusted in or whom I looked up to. So I think the same is with Gen Z, that they want guidance, not too much of indications that this is the way how you do it. Give them reasons, give them more options to believe in is something which they want. The freedom of choice is something which they truly believe in. They are pretty open in terms of knowing what to do and what not to do. They have more options. Unlike in my time, we were somehow limited with options and also information. Today we have both. We have too much of information, which is okay, sometimes not, but at the same time too many resources across which are available. So that is an advantage also. So my thought process would be like, if I need to deal with a youngster or Gen Z, it is not around dealing with. You are very much part of the same team. So there would always exist, maybe we don't call it a Gen Z, but we were also, at that age, 20 years back, I was at some Gen at that point of time, but there were two more generations above me, my parents, my grandparents, and there were one generation below me. The thing is, now the transition and the technology led things are making people a little bit more individualistic kind of a thing. That is somewhere Gen Z tend to lose some of I would say their thoughts, and they feel that a singular identity is more important, which I think in a society or even in an organization does not make a sense or an impact always. It is important, but at the same time, you have to be part of an ecosystem, and you should understand that you are contributing. Even if nobody is, let's say, appreciating or recognizing, your contribution does make an impact. So I think that is only a change, but it is more that we also need to change that way. It is not that we expect everything to be changed from the other side.
That's really interesting, sir. आप जैसे बोले. So, sir, moving towards our industry level, automobile industry, you have been part of this industry of more than 2 decades now. So, when you joined this industry, तब इंडस्ट्री कैसा था, एंड अभी इंडस्ट्री जैसे चेंज हो रहा है, तो उसके बारे में आप क्या बोलना चाहेंगे?
So if you are talking specifically about automotive industry is unique in some senses, that it is not just one industry. It is an umbrella of industry. It is a complete ecosystem which it brings with. So let's say Maruti as an automobile industry would have vendors who would make the components. We call them as the tier 1 suppliers. To tier 1 are the tier 2 suppliers. So they give us. It is 75% of the components which are bought out items from the vendors and they are just assembled. It is only 20-25% of the things which we do in-house. Mostly is an assembly. The rest is, it is manufactured or designed at some other place. Then you have on the other side is your dealers, dealer partners, service partners. So it is a complete ecosystem. What was 20 years back, we also started small. When we joined, it was almost like 500 vehicles or 1,000 vehicles per day. And today we are almost producing 12,000 vehicles a day. So there is a big shift. However, again, technology evolved. Processes became, it is a mix of automated as well as manual. Some of the things changed very rapidly and still are changing. And some of the changes being very fundamental and basics, that is what we strongly believe in as Maruti Suzuki, and that too from our parent company Suzuki Motors. It is whatever we do, we have to keep basics intact. It's like, always the basics would remain basics. So, right, as simple or important as when you call of concepts of 5S or Kaizen, or simple troubleshooting or a problem solving of a PDC approach, the basics would remain same. If we call basics as a cleanliness path, a discipline, these are basics. Now, basics, if those are existing and those are maintained, it would always create opportunities for higher growth. And the other important where we strongly believed was continuous improvement. And this really mattered and still is very important aspect of our, I would say, evolution and growth and success. Yes, things have changed. Automations are now a big way. Just to give one example, 20 years back, or I would say 25 years back, place like a weld shop where the white body, when we say the components are welded together to make a real car thing, was a very manual intensive. Today it is completely automated, or shall I say it is almost like all the weld and transportation or pickup and even the weld, it is almost 90-95% automated. So the people inside are some for in-process inspections or troubleshooting. Rest is completely automated. So this is a big shift, and so is with other areas also. That's how things have changed.
So how labor force has been reduced? Can we
Not
say
reduce.
that?
We don't reduce per se outrightly. We start redeploying. So this is where the learning and redeployment. So we make them capable for the newer things or different things. We upskill them. So it is right skilling and upskilling which helps.
Yes, sir.
And that is where it is not only for the working force, it is for engineers and managers also. So that we do is, so redeployment is the one thing which we have done aggressively across. So while it is the things get automated, but inspection and there are certain areas of repair and inspections or troubleshooting is where the experience brings in more. So that's where we get them redeployed or multi-skilling. So these are the aspects which we continuously did, and not just reducing the manpower per se.
Sir, since you mentioned some things about core values and which Maruti actually relies upon, that is innovation, growth and trust. So, and in the global market, as per saying that innovation and these factors are very well aligning with the global trend. So how is Maruti aligning with these trends?
See, in terms of core values, we have a distinct 5 core values. But talking about innovation, so innovation and creativity was certainly one of our core values. While we talk about innovation is not something that is only today. Innovation started a lot of years back, but the way now we see integrate innovation with entrepreneurship of a different kind of a mindset together is something which is now very important, and which the organizations need to do. So what we have done differently in terms of having a higher innovation mindset and adoption is we do outside in also. So we go in for various come out with various problem, let that be solved through various entrepreneurs or innovative mindsets. Yes. So while they participate in those problem solving, they get a live problem, and they work on with a proof of concept. If it works really well, then we do it at a large scale implementation. So that's how we do it, along with the students, along with the new entrepreneurs, along with some of the institutes where they partner with them in developing their business model, and we work closely along with them. So those are mail programs.
We can say.
And applications which as a business we see them as a problem statements for us, and we want to have an outside perspective. These is one area which we have been aggressively pushing. We have a mail program, especially in areas of mobility, environment, and so we have various specific domains on which every year we do this. We partners with some of the institutes like IIM Bangalore, IIM Calcutta. So some of these programs are curated and worked along with those institutes also. Okay. So that's how we have started bringing in.
Sir, since we are talking about industry, इंडियन ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री अभी ग्लोबल मार्केट में स्टैंड करता है. सो व्हाट बिगेस्ट challenges faced by industry and during that early stage of?
See, India itself is a real big market. So when you talk about a car, we have a term like a car penetration ratio. It's like how many cars or number of cars per 1,000 person. So in India we are somewhere at 36. While some of the very developed countries, or I would say stabilized in that manner, have something like 700-750 per 1,000. So we have a very real huge opportunity, huge market to come across. What we intend to do in next 8 to 10 years is moving into somewhere around 150 plus per 1,000. Now that is 4x, or let's say 4.5x. So look at the kind of market size. Today the market, while we have a market size of around 2.25 million cars per year last year, and we ended up at 41% market share. Now look at the total market size. And what we plan in next 5 years is to move from 2 million to 4 million. And then again the market would be almost like it's a 8 million market. And this is how it would grow. So the opportunities within India is big. When we're talking about customers, yes, we have so many states across. The customer expectations can differ from state to state. Yes. Their buying patterns, they would have different reasons. So we are a real big country with a lot of opportunities. Going forward, 2047, when we strongly believe that we would make it Amrit Kal, the kind of a growth which you foresee is going to have a very big contribution. Tremendous growth across mobility.
Whereas India began from importing cars, and now we can even export it to all parts of the world.
Yes, we are exporting, like the new electric vehicle which we came up a couple of months back. Yes. And the rollout was done by Honorable Prime Minister and along with our Suzuki's president, Mr. T. Suzuki. This car would be exported to more than 100 countries across the world. Okay. And rather that it has started, now it would get launched in India. So we have started with exports and now coming back to domestic use.
Since we see that the global trends are cybersecurity, IoT, automation, AI, and what would you comment on this being at an automobile industry?
This is a reality. It is, while again customer at the center, it is all about customer aspirations, and I know our core value certainly believes that customer obsession, bringing customer delight, and bringing that value to the customer. These things are changing and bringing in a lot of I would say user experience as a car buyer or as a mobility provider. How do we change? Do we need to change? Yes, we need to change a lot. Maybe adopting newer technologies, getting closer to customer, bringing user experience at a higher level is going to make a difference between buy decision. At the same time, when you talk about AI or even other technologies, it's not just only around product, it is also around our processes which make those product or services get rendered to customers. How do we ensure that this system is not prone to or susceptible to cyber attacks or phishing and these things, data protection, and it is very imperative that we keep ourselves very much updated in terms of having the right tools to counter this, so that it not only stops us manufacturing that, it stops us from delivering. It would take away customers' trust, which we are very proud of, that it is our trust which has mattered for last 42 years. We have to be very, very fast in terms of adopting. We have to be very flexible in terms of changing these aspects of bringing in or bringing out the technologies as and when required. At the same time, specifically when you talk about cyber attacks and so on, it has to be continuously, tested with small incidences, so that we are able to, our system is able to figure out. So that is where we have a stream of engineers and our business partners working for us to do that, these kind of things.
सर अभी ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री इतना ग्रोथ कर रहा है, सो अभी जो हमारे फ्यूचर एस्पायरिंग इंजीनियर्स है, स्टूडेंट्स है, यंगस्टर्स है, वो इंडस्ट्री के आने से पहले क्या ऐसा टेक्निकल प्रिपेयर्डनेस और माइंडसेट के साथ यहाँ पे आना चाहिए? एक मैसेज देंगे आप उनको तो क्या देना चाहेंगे?
See, not just for automobile industry, even for other businesses also. As engineers, gone are those days when it is only one pure engineering subject per se. Let's say only a mechanical engineer or only an electrical engineer or electronics, like that. It has to be somewhere multidisciplinary, because it is only multidisciplinary which gets a product or a process in place. Anything. Even at an extent, it is an aspect of financial aspect also, which gets into, if we are wanting to get into some kind of a entrepreneurial kind of a thing. Yes. But multidisciplinary approach of subjects, getting a good practical exposure is something which is very important. The other is trying out newer things, communicating in a right manner. Communication is somewhere which at some point of time lacks, which needs to get developed. It not only it gives you more confidence, it gives you multiple reasons to get your point very well onto the table, which as an engineer sometimes we lack. So these two things, and of course open to learning at all times, because it is difficult to unlearn, specifically for people like us. But unlearning in today's time is much more important than the learning. And but for youngsters, it is the other way around. So while you learn, you need to be open across learning continuously. It is not that just one time it is learning, and then consistent learning and adaptation is very much important. So these two things I would certainly say are very important for young engineers to get ready with. And the third important thing is always have a strong belief that team work is quite important than just you have to be an individual contributor, but at the same time collaborate across a team is equally important. And that mindset is very much important whenever you get out from the college. That also mindset has to come in while you enter into the working domain.
So we thank you so much for giving your fruitful time, and the discussion has been so much across everything we could cover. I would like our listeners to point out some of the important things that you mentioned, that collaboration. We need individual contribution, but collaboration is something we should look forward to, that a company is always looking forward into. And then you mentioned that an approach to learning, that you must have a mindset to learn always, to adapt, to evolve. Communication, as you mentioned, that communication is something, even if we know some things, we are not able to put it on the table. So these core principles, I think, that you mentioned was very helpful, will be very helpful to all our listeners.
I'll give you one example. When collaboration, so most of us, I would say, have heard orchestra. Yes. So every instrument player has to be the best of that instrument player. Yes. But the orchestra is only well received when everyone is works at their best, but at the same time it is the collaboration of all musicians which make that orchestra happen. And so is with sports games like cricket. You can be a very good batsman, but ultimately when you are on the ground as a fielder, all 11 players have to make a mark.
Yes.
So these collaboration is equally important in industries or businesses as well.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for
We were honored to have you with us, sir,
my
today.
pleasure. My
And
pleasure.
taking us through your experience and sharing your wisdom with us today, and also to our listeners.
Well, thank you very much, and it was my pleasure in interacting with you all. I think there is more to learn from you all than I expect you to learn from people like me. But thanks for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This is me, Aruba, signing off.
And मैं आपकी RJ वर्षा signing out. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring and keep signing.
आशा करछि आपण समस्तंकु सोआ इंग्लिस्तानरो ए फ्रेश एपिसोडटी आपण समस्तंकु बहुत भल लागिथिबो। वर्तमान समय स्थले देलानी कार्यक्रम को एठी रखिबाको आपण मानकर मन जानी आमर स्टूडेंट आरजे माने बहुत नुआ नुआ एपिसोड नै आसीबे। आपण मानकर मन जानी एवं सेमानकु मध्य बहुत सारा भल पाइबा दियंतु। सेति पर्यंत सुनुथांतु 90.4 सोआ रेडियो।
आपण सुनुछंती 90.4 सोआ रेडियो।